Hi everyone, it's Cindy. Welcome back to Studioloo. So I've actually made quite a bit of progress on Sandgran and the and the Midnight Party. I finished up the cover and hopefully you can see it with no glare. I'll just stand up so that I can check the camera. So see, I stitched a little patchwork quilt that's quite like Sandgran has. And then what I did with this image from Sandgran with the little girl here in the bed and the moon, I covered them with glossy accents to make them nice and like hard and rubbery. Sorry if my voice was a little weird there. I was standing up for a moment and sometimes the mic makes me sound a little tinny when I'm too close to it. So yeah, we've got the book all constructed, stitched around the edge. I'm really happy with it so far. I really think this is going to be a fun journal. So I do have the signatures made. There are 7 signatures. I have them numbered here because I need to keep them in this exact order so that I don't mix up the pages of the story, because this journal I'm keeping all the pages of the story intact. So the things that I added in here, I added lots of dyed papers, of course. I added a few pages of this lovely sprite book because there are some little sprites and things in the story. I think I wrote down all the little themes of the story that I had planned to try to use. I've used some nice digital pages, and I've just been sort of, plucking along, making some ephemera, some vintage children's book, some bit of scrapbook papers, some other children's book. This is from The Princess and the Pea. This is a Louisa Heinzel digital. Some fun painty paper from my friend Mary Ellen. What else have I put in here? Let me see. This goes like that. I was wondering why that page is like that. Okay. So yes, some pyro pages from a pyro book. All sorts of bits and bobs. So we have a lot of ephemera that I need to make. I won't do like a full kind of flip through of the folios at this point. I'll just plunk these aside, but I'm really happy with how they are looking so far. So I spent the morning doing a little bit of collaging. So these are on, let me just, hold on, just a moment. Okay, there's nothing too troubling back here. Okay, so these are on Grey's Anatomy pages. And I'm using these pages for collage because I love the big Grey's Anatomy book for doing different kinds of journals. But these particular pages are all genitalia pages. So I'm probably not going to be sticking any genitalia in any of my journals anytime soon. So yeah, I just did this morning. I just made some fun collage board pages and I'm going to be using them in this journal. So I now need to cut them into things like pockets and tags and journal cards, etc., and then start working on them, adding focal points and collage and whatnot. So I'm going to start by getting my guillotine. It is such a cold morning. Oh my goodness. Yeah, I've had kind of a couple busy days. And I will admit, I've been working on this journal kind of in my quiet time, just like not filming, because I've just been like feeling a little tired from a few things. Last night I had to go into a neighboring city to where I live, and I had a medical appointment in the evening for it's an MRI, but don't worry, nothing is wrong. I'm just following up on something. I basically so I'll tell you a little life stuff, I guess, without getting too personal. So when I had my first child, I had a little bit of a high-risk pregnancy for a condition that can be normal in some women. And for me, thankfully, it was. But in other women, it can cause complications. So as a result, for the last 4 months of my pregnancy, I had to be kind of careful with myself physically. I had to do some bed rest, and essentially that gave me some back problems just from being in bed too much. They don't really recommend bed rest all that much these days to women because it is just hard on the body. And unfortunately, it seems that I have endured just a bit of my SI joint is a little bit it's having a problem. We're trying to figure it out so that I can figure out what I need to do, probably physio or something like that, but I'm going to get it sorted out. So yeah, I have to deal with that. And I went for my MRI last night. It was super quick at the hospital, but I got to drop off some Happy Mail to my friend, and that was nice. And I got to do some sort of driving around with the kids and whatnot. We have the weirdest rental car this week. So weird for us because we're not really, so it's a Jeep, and we're not Jeep people. It's just like, it's always never really been a car that we would ever consider owning. So, but it's very like nice. It's very like upgraded and all those things. So I guess it was really busy at the rental car place while our car is being like fixed this week. And so they gave us a Jeep. My husband was like, okay. We feel a little funny, but it's all good. It's working wonderfully, which is what it needs to do. So I think I'll cut tag with that. And then I need some smaller pockets. About there, I think. So I think I will cut just 2 squares with that, and those could be like pocket shapes and a tag. What else? So the hospital situation was interesting last night. It was all good for me. I always, like with hospitals, I think because I've spent a good amount of time in them in my whole life for either relatives or for my own stuff or something, I just don't get that impatient. I'm not like impatient in a hospital. I'm just not. I feel like people don't need that energy for many of us, especially right now in the province I live in, where our health care is under attack by our provincial government, unfortunately. And we are seriously not in a good place healthcare wise. So when I got to the imaging place last night, they asked me to be there for 7:15. And my appointment was, like, my actual scan would have been at 8 o'clock. Because, you know, they have to be a little specific with these things because I think, you know, running those machines, they do it like 24/7. And, you know, so you need to be on time, you need to be ready. So they ask you to be there a bit early, which is totally understandable. But a little bit of a snafu, in my opinion, that they make at the hospital is the diagnostic desk where you check in for your appointment. Could be X-ray, MRI, any imaging. It doesn't actually get staffed until 7:30 p.m. So there's like a break, I think, for like the dinner hour, which is fine, but probably they should put a sign that has a little more information on it because so I got there and there was no one there. So my initial instinct was like, am I in the wrong place? So I've been there before and I thought, I don't think I'm in the wrong place, but there was no one waiting and there was no one at the desk. So I just kind of stood there, and then this lady came by who looked like she worked in the hospital and she needed something from diagnostics. So she paged someone and said, hey, like, I need somebody at the diagnostics desk. I need to get this blood pump or something she was looking for. So she did that. And then I thought, okay, well, someone will come along, so I'll just be quiet and sit down. So I did. Then within about, 5 minutes or so, this older lady came, kind of, like, I could see immediately she was frustrated, but also that she looked very stressed out and out of breath. So I said to her, are you okay? Because I just noticed that she was really struggling to breathe. So she said, oh, yes, are you here for a scan? And I said, oh, yeah, I have I'm supposed to be here for 7:15, but my appointment is 8 o'clock, so I think I'm okay. I don't see anybody here, so I'm just waiting. And so she said, oh, well, I've been at it for 15 minutes and now I'm late. And you know, she was just really, really exasperated. So I said, okay, well, there was just, you know, a woman here who I think works in the hospital. Well, she does. So maybe she'll be back soon because she's waiting for something here. And so we can probably talk to her when she comes back just to make sure that we're all in the right spot, right? So then she kind of went on and on for a while saying like things like, oh, nobody wants to work these days. And, you know, like we have to be so careful with the assumptions we make because actually I don't believe that's the problem at all with anything. I don't believe it's that people don't want to work. That's really not the problem in my opinion. So anyways, she kind of calmed down, started to talk to me about her lung condition, and turns out that she was a hairdresser for like her whole career, and you know, breathing in all that stuff has not done very good things for her. She said, you know, I never smoked a day in my life, and you know, she's very adamant about, you know, everything going on, and I totally understand. I think that would be a very hard thing to deal with. So I just kind of listened and gave her, you know, someone to kind of go off on, because I think she was feeling very frustrated and impatient, and I figure I could field a little bit of that, because why not? Someone can, you know, if you can try to help a little bit, then you will. So that's what I did, and I just listened to her and let her kind of talk about her situation a bit. Then eventually the lady who was working in the hospital, who was like looking for the pump thing, came back, and the other lady immediately kind of, you know, went off on her and said like, you know, who's supposed to be here? What's going on? How many people are supposed to be working here? And, you know, she just got extremely overwhelming immediately. And I was like, oh, geez. But I just kind of sat there because, like, you know, you have to know, like, when to intervene and when not to. And I just didn't want to, like, be an extra wheel in the situation. So I was just quiet. I just have to grab glue one second. So I was just quiet and listening and, you know, waiting. So all of a sudden, after the woman who worked there, you know, made another phone call basically saying there's people waiting or whatever, this lady came along who did work at that desk. And so she, you know, she sort of had this slow shuffle kind of walk about her, and she had like a Starbucks bag in her hand, and so, you know, all those things that I've just said. She was walking slowly and shuffling. She had a Starbucks bag in her hand. She seemed completely unbothered, and then came around and behind the desk, sort of slowly shuffled by, and then proceeded to do a whole bunch of personal things, like, you know, unpack her lunch bag, go get a mug, rinse it out, like go into this little back room, like all these different things, right? So I was just like, you know, when you're waiting for something to just pop off, right? Like, you know, something is going to happen. So I just kind of like, I think I was humming, because that's what I do. Sometimes when I'm nervous, I make this weird like sing-songy hum sounds. So then all of a sudden she's like, oh my God, do you see this woman? Like, could she walk any slower? I should apply here. I don't know why. I, you know, was a hairdresser all these years, but I just could have worked here and done almost nothing. You know, not like she was in any hurry to see us. And I was like, oh my gosh, here we go. So I just said, oh yeah, I mean, maybe she's just getting back from her dinner or something, right? And she's just like, she's not, you know, ready to talk to us yet. And she's like, oh, well, can you imagine just standing there and having customers and you just ignore them? And I was like, okay, this is uncomfortable. I don't want to talk about this lady while she's standing like within earshot and really at all. So then she came and I said, oh, you go ahead of me. You know, you've been here longer. She's like, no, you have. And I actually, you know, hadn't in the total like wait at the hospital. I think she had been rushing around and looking for things, whereas I just was standing there like, dear, what do I do? And so I said, okay, are you sure? I don't mind. You can go first. She's like, no, go ahead. So I'm like, okay. So I thought I'll just go and be as quick as possible. So I did, and then the lady behind the desk said, just so you know, I don't even start. I'm not supposed to even be here until 7:30. And I said, oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you. You know, she's like, I just saw you guys standing here. And I said, well, thank you. I appreciate you, you know, taking me early. That was very kind. Thank you. Because I was just like, oh, you know, I'm not trying to be like Susie Sunshine or anything, but I just wanted to make everybody feel better. Because oh, the hospital feels so intense. So, like, another thing that, you know, the lady who was upset said to me was that, like, it's a ghost town. This whole hospital's a ghost town. And, like, this is a major hospital, right? So I said, okay, well, you know, I don't know. It's a weekend, and I think staffing's a little different for sure. But, yeah, then I got my scan. Everything was all good. My first time ever having an MRI. They're weird. Very, very weird. Like, I knew about the tunnel thing they put you in and the claustrophobia of it all, but, like, the noise is crazy. Like, so you just hear, like, they give you headphones, and they give you earplugs and headphones because it's really loud. So you hear, like, it's like, I said to my husband, it's like the worst techno music ever, you know, or something. Like, it's just like wow, 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 wee, 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 like all these weird, you know, it's like magnetic, I guess, sound waves or something. Magnetic, I don't know. And also, like, you're laying on, well, I was lying on my back because, like, that's how they're imaging me, and it was like you felt this weird heat, like, on the table under you, and they told me that's all normal. So I was like, okay, okay. So, yeah, it was a crazy night. So that was last night, and then we came home and just kind of had a bit of a relaxed night with the kids. And then this morning, I caught up on a bit of YouTube videos. I watched some thrift haul videos from Thrifty Thursday, and what else did I watch? I don't know. All sorts of things. So then, yeah, it's been kind of a quiet day, except I did have to go out for a little bit, and my daughter had swimming class this morning, which was a lot of fun for her, and I had to get our family's swimming and skating membership for the year, so I did that. And then what else? I think that's about it. We got sandwiches for lunch today because I'm still waiting on the element for my oven. I don't know what is going on with Purelator, but the last 2 times that I ordered something from Amazon, and it was like from a private, like, company that sells through Amazon, Purelator has not delivered my package. I don't know, like, what their problem is, but it's, like, really annoying. So again, it's happened. I really don't like a lot of the independent couriers. I cannot stand FedEx. I had a horrific experience with them that was borderline fraud. So yeah, I never ever use them. I always joke that what they do is they pick up all your packages so that they can dump them into the ocean, because oh my goodness, did I ever have an awful time with them. Essentially, years ago, I bought my husband this we had this. So my husband, I met him actually online, not through a dating site or anything like social media. Many years ago, 20 years ago probably, there was a website called Diaryland where people used to go and vlog, blog, B-L-O-G, right? Like almost, like you would write a journal, then it turned into live journal it didn't turn into that, but people migrated to live journal. And so I met him in the days of Diaryland, and we read each other's posts and just became good friends. And then eventually he had asked me to design a template for his web page, like an HTML template for his diary page. So I did. And then, we just kind of became friends, and over the years and everything. And then when we were both in a, position to be dating, we just kind of ended up meeting, and then things went well after that. Oh my goodness, I hope I did not just show you the back of this page. If I did, I am so sorry. It is rude. Well, not rude, but it is genital. So yeah, these are going to become pockets, and this is so thick I don't want to, well, yeah, I don't have to back that. It just has text. Okay, so these are going to become little triangle pockets. This one, however, requires glue, and I'm not going to show it to you because it's just a little crude, a little not kid-friendly YouTube. Not that this channel is for kids. It definitely is not. But what was I saying? Oh yeah, so like in the days of like meeting people online, where was I going with that story? I'm so distracted today. I don't know. Oh geez. This is what happens. Distraction. Okay, that will be a good little pocket, I think. I'll embellish it in some way. All right, which ones am I backing? These ones. Okay. I cut most of these into tag shapes, which is okay because I'm going to need a lot of like tags and journal cards. This would just be maybe nice as a journal card, and I will round it. I'm just going to work on backing things for now. I think I was talking about like the morning. I don't know. I totally lost my train of thought. But yeah, so anyways, I'm just going to circle back to my hospital conversation. So yeah, intense at the hospital for sure. Like as I was leaving, because I didn't have to wait long at all. It was like I had one other person who was in there with me, and I got called before him. Had my scan, and away I went. And as I was leaving, there was a woman sitting on a bench, and she was like on a cell phone complaining about, you know, that, I don't know, the patient that she was with wasn't being picked up fast enough. And then as like I passed her, I saw these like two, you know, probably more junior hospital staff people, I think, like, you know, I don't know, or like maybe administration kind of people, talking about how someone was yelling at one of them because they answered their cell phone and it was just for a second. And it was just a lot of intensity. Like, it's hard to explain, but oh, I hope things get easier for medical workers because it's a little untenable right now. Although with this current government, I don't believe that's going to happen anytime soon. But hopefully something happens because it's getting pretty ugly. Just read that, you know, our hospitals here, because of COVID, RSV, the flu, and, you know, a lot of other bacterial type things that are affecting kids or viral things, you know, like we have a major problem with many of our hospitals having no beds, and like the ICU, especially for children, is just maxed out, which is why everyone really could do a lot of good by wearing a mask. So now they're talking about this private pediatric clinic in Ontario, like very US style privatized healthcare, that, you know, parents would have to pay for virtual visits because they have just now, the Ford government of Ontario have now slashed the virtual appointment for children fee that they pay to doctors from like $85 to $25, which is ridiculous and not a living wage. I don't know. So I don't know what it's going to be like, but I'm definitely, you know, as we're looking at real estate again, because we're slowly but surely figuring out our move here. Yeah, this province is not looking as lovely as it once did, for sure. And I'm sad, but I don't want to live in a province that feels like, you know, the past years of the United States under the last president. I just don't want any of that feeling in my life. It's too much. All right, so I'm going to turn this into 2 pockets, and I will round the corners. I'll wait to do that though until I actually use them, because then I know how I'm going to put them in. What else? This gonna fit here. It's a little bit too narrow, I think. Yeah, ever so slightly. Okay. have to dig a moment. So now that I've talked about, you know, sex, politics, and whatever else, and all the things that you shouldn't talk about, I don't have a whole lot more to talk about. I do have some fun ideas coming up, though, for a couple tutorials for interesting things that I want to do, and kind of having these thoughts about these techniques that I want to try. I'm also starting to think about Ephemerember and looking at those prompts from Louisa and Barbara, and I really enjoyed last year because every night I would kind of think about what I was going to do, and think about the 2 prompts, and then in the morning wake up and away I would go. And this year we have these like animal themes that they're working in, which I don't know if it'll make it more challenging or not. Of course, I do love working with animals, but some of them aren't really my kinds of animals, like that I like to use in journals. I tend to like to use like images of animals that are more woodland, I would say. But there's some things like, you know, lions or tigers or giraffes or things, and I'm gonna probably be a little challenged to use those. But really, it's just about creating ideas. I'm also trying to decide what I want to do with the ephemera that I create from this. If I want to keep it in a journal of my own, maybe an idea book, my big book of ideas. Last year, I ended up keeping the ephemera forever, thinking I was going to make a journal and use it in there. And then I didn't. I just eventually used it in across a few journals that I made that were really close to the theme of like the ephemera that I had made. So I didn't end up keeping it, but I do kind of miss it. But I have the prompts, and I can always make things again with those prompts. Okay. Oh, cakes and custard. Yeah, so there's, in the book, the Sandgran book, there's mention of a pink birthday cake. So, I have this really cool book called Cakes and Custards, and I put it in here somewhere. I should look for it and show it to you. I used actually the book cover in here, and it is so cute. Let me see if I can find it relatively quickly. There's a lot going on in this book already, and I'm really enjoying it. I don't think I'm going to find it. Oh no, yes I am. Hold on. Okay, it's in here. It is in the final signature, of course. It wouldn't be me, but here it is. Cakes and Custard. Children's rhymes chosen by Brian Alderson. Illustrated by Helen Oxenberry. So I love the cover. And I put it in here because I thought it was fun because it was children's bookish, and it's like, it's just fun. So yeah, that will be a nice little bit inside this journal. There's a couple little special things in this journal that I've added. And I will keep adding more special things as I continue making them. So that is from the spine of the same piece of paper. So what do I want to do with this? I feel like I kind of want to make a pocket, so I'm just going to cut here, maybe here. Yeah, and then that'll be a really cute little pocket. All right. So then this, I think, also lends itself to wanting to be a tag. Chances are I'm going to have made much more than I'll actually need to use, but we'll see. I often think that, and then I'm surprised at just how much ephemera I end up needing. So in my last video, I think I talked about that I'm not really doing a lot of Black Friday type shopping, except for local businesses. So yesterday, I guess I made an exception to that rule, although one could argue it's still kind of not necessarily a local business, but I mean, it's a staple business in things that like I like to buy from them anyways, basically. So the website Love Crafts, I think it exists like in many different countries. In Canada, it's lovecrafts.ca, and I think it's in the United States as well. I think it may also be in Europe. I'm not sure. In England, maybe. I think I've heard at least one British journal maker talk about getting it, or possibly someone buying yarn, because like they have many different mediums of like art craft stuff that they sell. And so they have an amazing sale right now, 45% off. I'm not affiliated in any way, but what I got was like mainly like staple things. So they have like 2-ounce bottles of glossy accents, which I enjoy using, and so I bought like 3 of those for around like $2.75 each. And then I bought some ink, distress ink, and some, I think a little bit of distress oxide and like some colors that I don't have. And I think I got a bit of paper. Tim Holtz People. Can't remember what else. But maybe I'll do a little Love Crafts unboxing. It's been like forever since I did like an unboxing of things. So maybe I will do that. So today's a pretty casual day in terms of what I'm doing. I know it's not like super exciting, but I was feeling so tired. I wasn't sure I was even going to turn the camera on today, but I was like, oh, I need to like at least let people know that I'm working on this journal. And I know people like to follow kind of how, you know, I get to the end of a journal. So I don't know when this tiredness feeling will go away. November has just been like the craziest month, and I've just decided, you know, when you have like a lot of things that you've, well, I don't know if you've ever had a time in your life where you've kind of neglected things, or, you know, you've let your responsibilities pile up. So for me, that was, I would say, the majority of last year. I just didn't have the energy to deal with anything I didn't absolutely have to. So I just kind of let things like lag on if they weren't happening immediately, like, you know, they weren't related to like my daily life, my work. I just kind of was like, oh, I'll get to it when I get to it, kind of thing. So this month I've really caught up. I've caught up on all of my health stuff, like everything I needed to do, like, you know, routine. I have nothing going on, no worries. Like I got my routine, you know, physical blood work. I'm following up on this back thing. Like my back pain's not as bad as it was, but I would like to get to the bottom of my the degradation. It seems like degradation in my SI joint, because I need to know what I can do to best take care of that. And you know, if it's a matter of like vitamin D and calcium, or if I need to, you know anything else about that. It can be, well, it is very normal that as you age, you know, so the wear and tear on your body from all sorts of things, from exercise to children to whatever, you know, you experience different things, right? So this is just something I need to work on and figure it out. So I got that mostly done. I think I have like 1 or 2 more medical appointments that are waiting, that I have to get blood work one more time, and yeah. And then all will be done in the health stuff. And then I renewed our gym membership. I got that all sorted out. We're putting together a bit of a schedule for like life balance between children and children's obligations, you know, personal time for both my husband and I, our pets, all just, I ended up like, you know, we were looking for a dog. I got a dog. So I've kind of, you know, really been catching up on like life responsibilities. So Yeah, it can be a little tiresome. I'm trying not to be too hard on myself for feeling a little tired. And work is, well, it's work. Work's very busy these days. What do I want to do with this piece? Could be like a really nice, like, tall... I feel like all I want to make is tags today. Why is that? I guess I can go ahead and make tags, and then if I need something else, I will make something else. Yeah. What the heart wants, what the heart wants, right? But oh my goodness, am I ever noticing a huge difference in fuel consumption with this rental car? Like, I have a hybrid electric car, so hold on. My gasoline bills are not so much, but oh, this one is like double. Oh my gosh. It has like half of the, you know, fuel economy of my actual car. I can't wait to get my car back. Okay, ignore this anatomy. This is a little abstract, so it's okay. That is going to be a journal card. Okay, maybe not everything is cut like tags. Okay, I just got into the tags stuff, I think. I'm going to stitch around all these. I'm just backing them for now. I probably need to go and do some grocery shopping today because I think I need a bunch of staples in the house. Actually, I'll cut those out first. Okay. I hear Rex barking. So I took Rex to the pet food store yesterday because we had to get some supplies for him, and oh my goodness, he was so good. Like, he was really great with people in the store. He would go up to people, but he would sit down. He didn't jump on them, which was nice. And then he ended up, I took him down the treats aisle and he picked out his own treat. He wanted this like kind of a jerky type thing. So he grabbed it and I said, go ahead. And so he pulled it off the peg and then he carried it up to the cash register all by himself. People were like absolutely like freaking out at how cute he is, because he is really cute. Oh my gosh. They're like, oh my god, it's such a cute beagle. I'm like, oh, thank you. Yeah, he's a good boy. So he's adjusting. The dog negotiations are still underway between my Chihuahua, the king of the house, and Rex, the new beagle. They've kind of we've had a couple times where we've just, so we were taking our Chihuahua Toasty pretty much everywhere we went for a while, because like he was a pack dog, and over the years, you know, he was the youngest of our 4 senior dogs, and he has just now kind of become about 10. And so he's been alone now for just over a year. And so now we have this big, crazy 5-month-old beagle who's a lot of energy, a lot of noise too. He's he howls when he's trying to play. He's actually doing it right now. I can hear him. So yeah, he needs manners. Like he needs training. He's lived in a way, I think he had very little rules. So Toasty's a little overwhelmed, but it's getting there. It's getting there. That's all I can ask, is that they, you know, they try to work together. So we've started now not bringing Toasty everywhere we go. So if we go on a little short trip, like a little shopping trip, we're leaving both dogs at home sort of half the time. Half the time we take them with us and we go for a walk somewhere. And then the other half the time we leave them home in the crates. So we have 2 crates, 2 dog crates. And we crate them beside one another so that they're together, like each other's sort of home confidant, because neither one of them are used to being separate from people, and both of them have some level of, I wouldn't say separation anxiety. Like Toasty, my dog, doesn't have any separation anxiety at all. He just lays down and goes to sleep, but like I don't think he particularly likes being alone, so that's why I haven't really left him alone a lot since he became our only dog. But Rex most definitely does have some separation anxiety. He whines and cries, but he only does it for about 3 minutes or so after you leave. Once it's quiet, like there's no more sound from the car pulling away, then he settles down. So we have a blink, like we have cameras on the outside and just in the doorways of our house, so I'm able to log into the camera and listen to what's going on, so the dogs are, I know that they're quiet. So yeah, that's good, and I think it's actually bringing them a little closer together because they're like each other's comfort when we're away. And then he's going for a neuter and a microchip next month because that was the soonest I could get him in. I would have liked to get him in a little sooner, but I will have to be patient with that because I think a lot of veterinarians are booked up because, like many other things, people sort of put off a lot of stuff, right? So and my vet is in my parents' hometown because I just really like my vet. So we take our dogs down to my parents' house whenever they need veterinary care because they're just really, it's really a great vet. I can't let go of that vet. When you find a good vet or a good doctor, whatever, hold on to them for the dear that they are, because it can be hard to find a good veterinarian, especially living in the city. I find like living in the city, there's a lot of vets that are not the nicest people, honestly. I don't know if it's a city thing or just it's been my experience. I don't think it's a city thing particularly, but I've had some not so pleasant veterinary experiences. Oh, I forgot to put my rings back on since my MRI yesterday. Anyways, but yeah, I had a bad experience unfortunately with our local vet. He just wasn't very good with one of my dogs and kind of left me feeling a little bit like traumatized, to be honest. And so I don't go to him anymore. And then my other vet, I think he has retired, and I loved him, but we moved kind of far from him. But he's the cutest vet. He's like, he looks like Santa Claus, #1. So there's that to love. But I really fell in love with him when we first got Toasty, because like Toasty's this cute, like adorable little puppy, and you know, he's a Chihuahua, so he's really tiny. And when we rescued him, he was just the cutest little thing ever. Oh my gosh, he still is super cute. But our vet, he fell so in love with him that he said to me, "Do you mind if I just take him in the back so that I can take a picture with him?" And I said, "Oh yeah, you can take a picture of him." And then the veterinary tech said, "No, he didn't say of him. He said with him. He literally wants to take a selfie with your dog. Is that okay?" So my vet was like, I mean, he was like a 70-year-old man at that time. I think he may sort of kind of still be working, but he now has, I think, his daughter taking over his practice, and they're the loveliest people. But we just kind of moved. They're in a city near us, but we moved away, so like it's a little difficult to get them there, to get our animals there. So I switched our records to the vet that I don't go to anymore because of my bad experience. So then I ended up switching my records again just to my vet from my hometown that I always used for all my pets that I've had. And so I'm just going to stick with them because I really like that vet. And there's a guy there that I've used him for years. He's not at retirement age yet, so I'll have some good years of being able to take my pets to him. and have that like recurring relationship. But yeah, most vets are great, but the challenge these days is a lot of them aren't accepting new patients either. It's sort of like doctors. It's kind of crazy. I had a really frustrating experience when my last dog was passing away. He had he had developed heart failure, and I was very familiar with what heart failure looked like, and it came out of nowhere. Just one day, one morning, he just like had a strange, like almost what looked kind of like a sneeze or a cough, and it just completely imbalanced him, and I knew right away this is a heart problem. I mean, he was 18, and yeah, so I had to call around. I was so upset, you know, and I called this one vet, and they said to me, like, I explained what was going on, and she said, "I'm sorry, we're not accepting new patients." And I was just like, he would be your patient for 15 minutes. Like, I'm looking for end-of-life care. Like, what are you talking about, you know? It was just so frustrating, and I don't know if that's the new normal in the veterinary world, that, like, there's just too many patients or something. I'm not sure, but I thought it was pretty rude, to be honest. It takes a lot to offend me, and I was quite offended that, like, her tone was so cold, you know? Like, I just thought if I had someone phone me who was dealing with what I was dealing with that day, you know, the loss of a long time loved one, I would not have been so cold. Even if the situation was like, you know, that I couldn't take the patient, you know, the pet, I would explain that unfortunately because of this or that or whatever, you know, even if it was just COVID, whatever, I would explain that unfortunately I could not help, but that I was sorry for the, you know, the experience, and maybe I would try to refer the person to one of my colleagues, like, you know, another veterinary office or an emergency vet or something. She probably could have said any other thing in the world that would have made me feel a little better than how she acted. It's pretty cold. So yeah, I will stick with my nice vet, who is always awesome. All right, there we go. These are all glued down on this. I hate this. Well, I don't hate, but I don't like this scrapbook paper. Oh, it's so ugly. I got it as part of I bought this like at Goodwill, a great big bag of scrapbook paper one day, and it had a lot of nice stuff in it, but then there was this stuff, and it was like, woo, that's so ugly. But there's so many things you can do with ugly scrapbook paper. Paint over it, use it as painty paper under your work, jelly print on it, collage on it. It's still paper. Okay. I was watching Catherine from Sunnyside Journals, her thrifty book haul, and she went to the last week of the Kirby Church book sale, and I was totally jealous because she met up with Nancy from Wishes and Weeds. I know they're like besties, and it was nice to see that they got to get together and go book shopping. I think I would love to meet up with them someday. It'd be a lot of fun. Okay, we're almost there. This is going to make a lot of ephemera though. I really love making these collage boards. It's such a relaxing thing to do, and I also I always do it on days where I feel like my scraps are out of control, just to get them back under control. They're still not under control. I probably could make like 10 more pieces or 10 more pages, and then I would feel like it was getting under control. But then I'll have way too many collage boards and no time to make stuff with them. So, you know, it's a double-edged sword. Get rid of this. And then this journal card, I think I will probably cut it out and round the corners. This needs a little bit of a trim. There we go, just to straighten it up a little. That's better. Of this old weathered paper. Okay, here we go. All right, so let's take a look at what we've done here. Look at all this stuff. So yeah, this will be the next ephemera bases that I use in this journal. I tried to use colors that felt like nightimey, with a little bit of like a florally theme here and there, because that's sort of what this story is about. I will do a full, like when the journal's done, I'll do a full flip and read through of the story. If you're a fan of children's stories, I recommend you tune in when I get there because it's going to be fun. It's a really nice story. That's why as soon as I got the book in my thrift haul, I just kept it here on my desk, and it's like I just started it because it just really got me feeling inspired. So thank you for hanging out with me while we talked about all the stuff, all the YouTube appropriate and not YouTube appropriate stuff, and I covered up all the genitalia that I could with the pretty paper. So I hope you're well, and yeah, let me know how you're doing. Let me know about your last crazy medical experience. I'd love to hear it. So we'll talk again soon, and until then, bye for now.